All right, so I just got back from watching Blink Twice, a psychological thriller. I guess you could call it horror. It's more of a thriller, though. Directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. But this is her first directorial role that she's taken in a movie. She is traditionally an actress. She doesn't act in this movie at all, I don't believe, but she's most famous for recently being Catwoman in The Batman, the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman. But she's been in all sorts of stuff. She's Mad Max Fury Road, she's in X-Men First Class, she has a small role in Into the Spider-Verse, the first one. So she's been around for a while, and so this is her first movie. And I will say I have some criticisms of the movie, but I don't have any criticisms of her directing. I think she did a really good job directing this movie, and I am interested to see if she decides to keep directing movies, what she makes next. I think she does have a very good sense of keeping the audience engaged, and she does have a very unique style. She's not copying anybody that I know of, at least, and she utilizes edits and cuts and certain sound effects to keep an audience's attention during certain scenes that may seem like they drag. And what I mean by that is this is a movie about two, ordinary women who work, a lower job of, waitresses basically at some fancy establishment that get invited by some tech billionaire CEO guy to stay with him and his posse, essentially, on this secluded island out in the middle of nowhere. And because it's a psychological horror thriller movie, and especially if you've seen the trailers, you know that things are not as they seem at this idyllic, luxurious island, and there may be some nefarious intentions going on here. So I just praised the directing of the movie. I can also praise the acting. Channing Tatum is in this movie. He plays the tech billionaire CEO character, and he's kind of casted against type here. And he's a lot more, he has that, easygoing, charming outward appearance that he normally does in his movies, but he plays the more sinister aspects of his character very well and very convincingly. I wasn't always thinking, oh, that's Channing Tatum I'm watching. I was immersed into his role, so that's good. But everyone else is really good in this movie too, especially the one girl that is in Andor. I'm gonna totally butcher her name. I think it's Aria Ordona. I completely butchered that, but she's in a bunch of stuff. She was in Morbius like 2 years ago, but she's really good in this movie. She and Channing Tatum are the two standouts here. So that's basically all the good I have to say about this movie. Unfortunately, this movie, it has really good intentions with its themes. It starts off with kind of a disclaimer, or sort of a trigger warning, I should say. A trigger warning that the content of this movie can be very triggering to some people because it is about woman being taken advantage of, I should say, just so I don't get in trouble with YouTube. And which is a very, delicate topic, obviously very triggering for a lot of people. And I would say that trigger warning is warranted. This movie does have some very, unpleasant things in it that happen. And the movie obviously is condemning this. It's not saying that it's a good thing. It's a horror thriller. So, that's where the horror and thriller aspects are coming from. But the reason why I was torn is because I don't disagree with the movie, obviously, that this is a bad thing. But I don't quite know what the point of this movie is. What statement is it trying to make beyond just the basic fact that taking advantage of women is a bad thing? And that's kind of all that happens with it. They do mention a couple other times that women need to seize power, you know, and people don't listen to women when they, you know, say that they need help, but that's not really focused on all that much. And I will say I decided I didn't like this movie with the ending. The ending is what decided it for me. And when I say the ending, I mean like literally the last minute. It's just really confusing and really weird. And I don't want to spoil it in case you do decide to watch it, but I found the last minute of this movie, right before the credits roll, to be really like tonally weird, and something that I felt like it kind of went against what the whole movie was trying to say. And it was just like a weird scenario. It's kind of hard to describe, but it just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, really? That's how we're ending this movie, with this weird situation? Who would do this is basically what I thought. What person in their right mind would decide that this is the direction I should take? This is the path I should go down. I don't understand it at all. I understand it's probably trying to make more of a statement than make logical sense, but it just doesn't make logical sense to me at all. So yeah, I don't really get what the movie's message is supposed to be, just beyond the surface level stuff, and that's kind of unfortunate, because then I feel like, okay, but what's the point of showing us these awful things if you're not going to make much of a statement beyond, hey, this is bad, right? Yeah, I know it's bad. I will say also the second act, where we're seeing our characters divulge in debauchery, basically, of taking drugs and running amok and, you know, living life on this island, went on for far too long for me. Like, we all know that something sinister is going on beyond the scenes here, but the movie acts like the movie takes forever to get to that. It drops little hints here and there, but then we just keep going and going and going. And thankfully, Zoe Kravitz's direction was able to keep me entertained, you know, because I was admiring how she was able to direct scenes and stuff. But it was still, I was like, what are we doing here? What's the plot's not really moving forward at all. So yeah, a bit of a mixed to negative bag here. I wouldn't really recommend this movie to anybody, just because there's better movies that tackle this subject with a much more efficiency. I will say the movie is funny though, strangely enough, and I don't think in a disrespectful way. It does have some pretty funny jokes, especially when the other shoe drops. I don't know how the statement goes, but when there's the turn and things start getting really sinister, there is some really funny jokes, surprisingly, that got a laugh out of me. But besides that, I didn't really like this movie, so I'm not really gonna recommend it. But I am excited to see what Zoe Kravitz directs next. I think if she gets a good script, she could make a really good movie. I just don't think this is it. But yeah, Blink Twice is in theaters right now, and if you are interested, despite all that, you can go ahead and check it out.